I got to say, Knew Amsterdam Radio is brought to you part by Anchor FM. Have you ever thought about making your own podcast? You see, when I was trying to get this podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions. How do I record an episode? How do I get my show into all the apps people like to listen? How do I make money from my podcast? And most importantly, I don't want to deal with cables and wires and all those things. You see, the answer to every single one of these questions is pretty simple. Anchor. Anchor is the one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. And best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And you can use your phone, which is pretty awesome. Now, Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. That means you can get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now by reading this ad. So if you ever wanted to start a podcast and make money doing it, go to anchor.fm/start. That's anchor.fm/start to join me and the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast. Knew Amsterdam Radio starts now. Hello, everyone. Flobo Boyce here with a very special guest, just hanging out in the mayor's office. Just a quick second. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for making Knew Amsterdam one of the quickest, rising, fastest podcasts for creatives on the planet, available on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, wherever you stream. Make sure you check out newamsterdam.com for more information. My guest on this episode is Mabb, who is a Chief Client Strategist and co-founder of Wyvelan, and it is doing great big things. I want to sit down with him because he's really on the start of his journey, because even though he's doing big things in this company, there's definitely potential for a lot more. So being able to sit and chat and pick his brain about his approach in life and perspective has been a treat, to say the least. One more thing before we get on to our interview in this one. If you like this show and you want to see more interviews from the Knew Amsterdam canon, make sure you become a member of the Boisterous crew. Patreon.com/Flobo Boyce. That's Patreon.com/Flobo Boyce. You can see all the extended interviews from the past guests on the show before anyone else. And without further ado, let's get on with it. This is Knew Amsterdam Radio. Welcome back to Knew Amsterdam Radio, the podcast for creators. It is I, the mayor, Flobo Boyce, here in the mayor's office. And you know the show about we do here, we sit down with creatives, we sit down with people who are taking the jump, people who are looking at entrepreneurship in the eyes and making it happen. My guest today is actually one of the more unique guests I've had, because he is doing it and he's doing it well. I want to give a shout out to my man, Mabb from Wyvelan, digital marketing companies out there doing it. How are you doing today, sir, on this beautiful Sunday morning?
How you doing, Flobo?
Yeah, man, I'm doing good, man. We're in Knew Amsterdam Radio, just the podcast for create, chilling up here in the mayor's office, enjoying our time, enjoying our lives. And I know that you are a busy man these days because you run your own digital marketing company. Tell me about this.
Yeah, Flobo. I have a digital marketing company. Me and a few other members started. A few of my team members that I work closely with, Tom, Jake, and another Mike out there in New York. We are the ones that really kind of, we crossed paths once, and then we stayed in touch, and over time, as I kept learning about digital marketing, as I kept developing my interest, I'm kind of telling you the long-rounded version of it, just to, help you get a good sense of, how deep it is, almost for us. When, we met, kind of just all being interested in digital marketing, maybe thinking about getting jobs in that field, thinking about what's next here. Yeah. But I didn't live in New York when I met them. I was just visiting my cousin for 3 months, so it was kind of just like serendipitous almost that I met these people and they happened to be interested in what I was interested in. So, we stayed in touch, right? And when I came back to the area that I live, I, started working, got a regular job and started pursuing digital marketing more like from a freelancer side. So I would say I put up profiles on, I don't know if you ever heard of Upwork, but yeah. So profile there, try to attract some clients while I was maintaining my day job. And eventually I thought I flopped. I thought like that's it. Oh no, because no one showed up. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, let me just I just left it up. I was like, whatever. And then like randomly one day it was a soccer store, right? From Montreal, I remember. And I was like, oh, okay. Like I started talking to them. I was like, okay, yeah, what do you need? Blah, blah, blah. And back then I couldn't offer too much, but I did start with SEO, search engine optimization. Are you kind of familiar with that stuff, Flobo?
Oh, yeah, I am. But if you want to explain to the fans who are listening right now.
Right. So it's all about, getting on the first page of Google, getting in those results for keywords that people are actually looking for. If you're on the first page, it's great. If it's not for what we call buyer intent keywords or keywords that show that people want, they want to buy something. They want to, they're looking for a service right now. Right. That can be anything like, cost of a t-shirt or whatever. Right. And if your t-shirt company comes up first, there you go. We just did the thing for you. Right. Yeah. And we're not talking with search engine optimization. You're not really talking about, the paid for Google ad spots. We're talking about the organic stuff, right? The stuff that stays over time and keeps driving clients and customers over time. And you don't have to put any money into it anymore because it's organic, right? You put in that first, that's the real thing about SEO. It's just like, it separates the men from the boys almost, like, but I got started with that soccer store, and then I let them know that I let my friends from the East know that, this is kind of what I was doing and, building that communication again. And then, some more time passed, a few more projects, right? A few more case studies. And I kind of just asked them, COVID happened, right? And I was like, hey, let's just try to take this thing to another level. Like, do you guys think that if I put a brand behind this, behind our network, our system of doing, getting done the results that we have been doing for clients, do you think that, you guys would be interested in that? Do you guys think you guys want to back me in that? Right. Mm-hmm. So that's me and those guys. That's the idea behind Wyvelan Beam, right? We're the Wyvelan Beamers, right? We're beaming together, right? Yeah. To make this thing happen. Right. And, as far as, I'm going to stop myself before I start ranting. Okay. I'm gonna keep going.
Well, it's funny because before I done this and this being like the podcast and performing arts and all that, and before I realized my purpose, I was in the marketing world too. That was actually my day job. I used to fly out to do that. Reputation management, digital marketing, content management was actually my forte. Content strategy. It can be pretty gnarly, and I know a lot of companies, big and small, look at that. They know it's important, and they're just looking to be like, can someone else handle it? Right. It's kind of like, I just can't deal with this. So, but I know the first challenges you have when you're starting a business, and I know you can go more in detail on that in just a second, but I need to know the significance of the term Wyvelan Beam. Like, I've never heard those combination of words before. Does it have some sort of significance? Is it a combination of the founders' names? Put me on, man.
It is just absolutely abstract, right? And I designed it that way because I want it to be I want it to represent a level of it makes you think about it, makes you wonder what it is. And it's that aspect of wondering that I really wanted to capture in the title, right? Because I feel like that's what I'm trying to be all about. And I feel like that's where magic happens, when you're with people and they keep wondering about you. They keep wanting to know more about you. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I really wanted to capture in an essence. And I just kind of, used the inspiration of the time that I was thinking the name up. Like I said, me and those guys, I wanted to have some sort of unity, some sort of uniformity there. That's where the beam part comes in. Cause I feel like when you're beaming, you're channeling a lot of, energy or whatever. Wyvelan, I don't know if I should tell this story.
Well, I would love to, because sometimes you have like names are made up for a purpose. Like Kodak isn't a real name, but over time we associate Kodak with a set of ideals. So if you have a part of insight, I would love to hear it.
No, I say I shouldn't tell it because I feel like I don't know. It's not like romantic as any of the other stories, but it was just like literally a name that I heard and I liked. Right, it just stuck to me.
That's how I was named Flobo, man. My mom was like it. She was like, "It sounds dope."
Yeah, and I spelled it a little differently, but when I first said it together, I was like, "Yeah, like I could keep saying this. I could put some behind this. I'm motivated to get up and deliver for people in the spirit of Wyvelan Beam, in the spirit of, you know what I'm saying? It just stuck that I didn't have any other connotations. You know, maybe if you use a name of a thing or a tool or whatever to like there's a company called Single Grain. They're another digital marketing company. Single Grain's cool, but it makes me think of a grain immediately. That's just me personally. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted something that I didn't have any connotation within my head already, that I could put new connotations with, new, not even new, but necessarily just tell a story with. You know, that's why one of our taglines is power your story and propel your purpose, because that's really the essence of what we're trying to capture here, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny because like you say it's not romantic and you say, well, I just felt it. But like for those of us who are listening now or gripping with the idea of becoming entrepreneurs or doing it now, a lot of it is relying on your instincts. I mean, you didn't have all the data you want, but you have to make the judgment call. And as you are on the leadership team of Wyvelan Beam, have you made any entrepreneurial decisions or stories you want to share with someone who may be watching this, being inspired about your story?
Look, as far as making that leap, as far as, you know, really, like you said, man, you just got to follow your instincts, and sometimes your instincts are going to be shit, man, and you're just got to have to deal with that, and you're going to make a few bad calls for sure, but there's so much comes with it. There's no real fail. There's only, you just keep learning. And if you really care about what you're doing, man, you're just going to fall on your face so many times, but it's going to be worth it to get back up for you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I guess that's just the angle you've got to come at it at. One of the things that really helped me to find that gut instinct, that really that zone where I'll make that decision and I'll make it again and I'll make it again. You know what I'm saying? Is a story that I heard from Dr. Jordan Peterson. He's a psychology doctor. Have you heard of him before, dude?
No, I haven't actually.
So he's a psychology professor up in Canada, and he used the story of Peter Pan as a really cool analogy of like how you know when you're growing up, you don't get to not make a sacrifice just like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? He says at best you get to choose what sacrifice you make. You know what I'm saying? And he used the analogy of Peter Pan in the sense that Peter Pan is a boy that never wants to grow up. Essentially, he's like stuck in this, Neverland, right? And his only role model of an adult is Captain Hook. That's haunted by this crocodile on a clock. And then he really turned it. He's like, this crocodile with a is it a crocodile alligator? Crocodile with a croc that haunts him. And what he was really saying is that this crocodile with a clock is, mortality, time. You know what I'm saying? Like so he's kind of spun it to mirror everyday life. And then he brought, Wendy, the girl that he takes to Neverland. She's a regular girl. She wants to grow up. She wants to do everything else. You know what I'm saying? So he was just using that analogy of, if you're growing up, or I don't know, whatever age you might be, but it's just never too late to just start making mistakes. Really, just start getting in that water.
Right. Yeah, and that water is cold, but you gotta swim. Look, for those of you who aren't seeing the video representation of this, we're not getting into ages, but you are a young man, and you have a leadership position, a chief client strategist over at your company.
Yes.
Let's talk about sacrifice, things you have to give up. Did it feel like the things you sacrificed paid off when you have a client that may look at you physically and doubt your expertise? I mean, what's the challenges there? What did you have to part with to push your brand forward, to let clients know that you can give them what you need, with them what they need, I mean?
Right. If you're above taking advice from someone younger than you, congratulations, you played yourself, right? Right. So like that part I just can't really like grasp. I just kind of have to I just kind of have to filter those people out of my experience. But I meet plenty of great people that will take me seriously enough for me to do business with them. So I just kind of focus on those people. Like you said, does it feel good as far as sacrifice is made? Absolutely. Hell yeah, because the times that I'm in the middle of making those sacrifices, it fucking sucks. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right. Yeah, of course it does.
So to see it pay back, it's definitely a worthwhile feeling.
Yeah, you know what? That's one of the cool things that it is a bit of a journey there. My experiences are in a different segment, and I think now in digital entertainment. And I got like pushed into entrepreneurship in that way. Because I feel like for me, I started off being a wedding DJ, which I still am. That was to me like the business. But like over lockdown, for me, was growing Knew Amsterdam brand to a digital network of shows and calling up people of different ages and races and cultures to be like, I deserve a seat at the table because I have the expertise. I've been doing it for so long.
Right.
I put up many meals aside to make this happen.
Yeah.
Let me in.
Yeah.
But you're in the Midwest currently.
Yes.
And how does that look like on the ground floor as far as any kind of like walk-in meetings and clients? I know we're in a time of COVID. A lot of things are virtually anyway. Distance is irrelevant, but I don't know if any kind of influences of your location kind of influences your business day to day.
Certainly. It snowed for the first time recently, which I'm not a fan of snow or anything like that. But
I live in Los Angeles for a reason, man. I'm telling you.
But as far as like COVID restrictions, yeah, there's plenty COVID restrictions. I, like everybody else, was relegated my, on the ground stuff to Zoom. Having to try to make a lot more phone calls, and what I actually did to try to like cover the missing link of just being able to talk to anybody whenever is like I joined my city's Chamber of Commerce to get into those events, and those events that so filled with so many entrepreneurs. That's really where like, yeah, that's how I kind of just managed COVID almost, to still stay in touch with people, still stay in touch with brands that have ideas and they're still cooking up, because I mean, COVID happened, sure, but a lot of businesses are still thriving,
True. That is true.
And it was good go ahead.
No, it comes down to who can adapt, and I guess
exactly, yeah.
Adapting, yeah,
exactly. That adaptability. That's one of the things about entrepreneurship that I really appreciate. There's a strong sense of adaptability, right? This, like, I'll tell you the story of this lady that at one of the chamber events, she had it's like a bakery / restaurant, right? And COVID happened. No one's going to restaurants anymore, right? She literally tells a story of how. I'm talking about immediately when it happened, people aren't going to restaurants anymore. Okay. She has a story about how she literally like broke down and cried because she had no idea like how she was going to do the next 6 months of whatever the fuck this was. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But after she cried, got herself up like a big girl, you know what I'm saying? And put together an adaptability plan. And, to hear her tell the story, I was like, Jesus Christ, like, some people would have folded right then and there. Like that would have been it.
People have folded. Yeah,
exactly. So that story, I was like, wow, man, like there's some people out here.
Yeah. I mean, COVID was like, in some ways, I won't say it's a good thing. That sounds terrible, but in some ways, it
I absolutely feel what you're saying.
Yeah, like it flattened like the a lot of the gatekeeper, a lot of the barriers for a lot of people to get in it.
Yeah.
And those who really are about their craft got to stay in it,
Right.
when this happened. And it's a weird vibe because, a lot of things happen that are negative. People are sick, people are dying, we go outside, wear a mask all the time.
Right.
It's the best thing, but like it really did open our eyes to what's important and what's not. Like for me personally, and I know this is not about me, my DJ business is still going. The comedy stuff is now virtual, and I closed my wedding officiant business. I had to decide which was more important, and so I got to ask you this. I mean, with 2020, with everything going on, with starting a new business in any environment, what keeps you going? What keeps you motivated? What keeps you not folding like some other businesses? What's your inspiration, my man?
I really try to get inspiration from people, from just anywhere, honestly. One of my favorite books, one of my favorite people is Leonardo Da Vinci, right? I think he's beyond cool. And one of his quotes is just learn to see that everything is connected. You know what I'm saying? And that level of mentality is kind of just how maybe if I'm dealing with an issue or maybe I need a solution, I kind of disassociate from it, right? And just kind of just go into the world or do something else that gets your mind off the subject enough for your brain to do it for itself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Your brain is stronger. Your brain is a lot more intelligent subconsciously than it is, consciously.
It's true.
That's just how it works. So having that space in between whatever I'm working on and myself allows for me to find cool things like a quote from Leonardo da Vinci, right? Find cool things like the Dr. Jordan Peterson stuff. You know what I'm saying? Find cool things that just like, wow, man, I've never heard this insight before. I've never heard this way of thinking before. Just going out of my way to find something, right?
Yeah.
As just a way of being, I'm just super curious like that, right? And that's really, I just let it drive my creativity, let it drive solutions, and then when I come back to whatever I'm working on, I'm like, what did they say? What kind of insight did they have? Like, the person that they are. What did I just learn? What did I just do? What kind of just process it and channel it into what I'm doing and maybe find, sometimes it does, sometimes it's just a dud, you got to walk away, but.
Right. Like, okay, I passed. Have you ever been pressured, or has everyone ever tried to say, that's great what you're working on, but what's your real job, even though this is your real job? And how do you deal with that? Like, how do you let them know that you're dedicated to this?
Yeah, I would say, man, sometimes you just got to catch me on a good day. I'm kind of just moody sometimes. So sometimes like when I get that vibe from people, I might get real defensive and not try to talk about, I'm like, yeah, whatever. All right, dude. And just like keep it going and not even try to justify. But sometimes I'll be real playful, like, what? You don't think I do what? You don't think I'm about what? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
And then really start telling them, I'm like, nah, like, this is what I do. This is like I'm about. Like, come ask about me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. I'm in these streets.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you gonna hear about Wyvelan. So yeah, back to the business at hand though. There's a lot of people that on paper do what you do, but I think that your formula is unique to your own business. Like, what would you think, in your opinion, goes into a sound digital marketing strategy? Like, what is something that people should look for? What makes you stand out in this segment?
Yeah, it's all about strategy, right? If you're going on that leap of becoming an entrepreneurship, and you've got to take your entire business online, essentially, right? You've got to dominate online to bring clients to you on a repeated basis, right? And the strategy is really just makes it like a simpler, makes it a smoother process. If you're just, you don't have a website and you're putting up social media posts, you're driving traffic and driving it to nothing, or if you have a website, but it's not optimized for SEO, sure, you got a website, but it's sitting on page 12 of Google. So, I mean, good luck. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, things like that, fluidity and automation, man. The world we're going into 2021 and forward is all about automation. Automation meaning like marketing automation, like someone was on your site, so immediately AI knows what ad to start serving them up because they're on their social media. They're going to start seeing. That's why these companies work so well. Automation, you know what I'm saying? And that's really what I try to help my clients with. And that's the strategy that really works well, where you can kind of just step away from it and let the machine do it. You just got to guide the machine. That's the biggest part of strategy. And look, I'll give you another example, right? I love this example because it really puts you into like a good mindset for like what marketing the power of marketing, if you do it right. If you have someone with you that's strategizing with you, you're bouncing off ideas, you're getting good intel and data on the modern customer journey and the customer journey as it changes over time, right? As it changes online. In the 70s, Nestle wanted to sell coffee to Japanese people in Japan, right?
Okay.
But the Japanese culture was all around tea. They didn't have a palate for coffee, right? So Nestle's selling coffee, it's a dud, right? This is another great story of adaptability. They went and saw a psychoanalyst, Dr. Clotaire Rapet. She's a French woman, a psychoanalyst, right? And they were like, why isn't Japan taking to our coffee? You know what I'm saying? And she's the one that explained to them that, you know, she's seen all these kids that she was working with being a psychoanalyst. She's seen all these kids over time. It's like, they don't eat coffee, and food and memory work hand in hand, right? So you might eat something that takes you back to the first time you had it at your aunt's house or wherever, you know, that food, you could literally feel being there again. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So she was saying, like, if you want to sell them coffee, you might want to sell something that kids can eat or kids can enjoy, so they can imprint that taste on them as they grow up. And guess what? Whoa. 20 years later or whatever, when these kids start joining the workforce, they have a palate for coffee now. You know what I'm saying? And Nestle comes in and starts selling them coffee as if it was just like another thing. You know, they just came back to it. And this started happening in 2004. Going into 2014, they just started dominating that Japanese market. But it's about, like, you know, again, look at that strategy, man. Look at that long-term play, man. It's not a short-term thing, marketing. You know what I'm saying? And any idea that it should be, or that someone's going to get it for you quick, it's kind of a farce. Okay. So that's another big part of strategy. You got to look at the long term of what you're doing. You got to look at how deep it's connected to the individual. We're talking about imprinting coffee taste on kids to wait for them to grow up. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, it works. Sound strategy, right? Yeah, I mean, look, you know, when I was a kid, there was it's like I'm an old man. When I was a kid, but like, you know, everyone talks about, and they can't do this anymore. But like the cartoon characters I saw that smoked cigarettes, you know, like I was a '90s kid. There was Joe Camel, and Joe Camel was the coolest camel on the block with his cigarettes. And even before that, like in the '70s, there was actually commercials you could find with Fred Flintstone light one up in the back of the bedroom parking lot. He was like, for real. So that whole kid strategy, it's sound, man, because we pass it on to our generation, even things that may not be marketed for us specifically. My friend is a big Nintendo guy, and he took his kid to Nintendo World Japan and like got a Mario hat for his baby boy when he was born. It was a whole different thing.
Aww.
But you were saying though, like the time to read and research about different case studies and about these people, because you do have unique hours when you're working on your business. Like, what is your schedule like day to day? I mean, do you have set research times? You like call clients? Like, what does a normal day look like for you and your company?
Yeah, it usually starts with first thing in the morning, doing any type of like research or getting ready for whatever meeting is about to start at 10 or whatever first call I'm about to do at 9:30 or something like that. And then in between those calls, I just kind of make sure I'm working on my own branding for Wyvelan, make sure that me and Tom and me and Jake are staying in touch about what's going on, where are we going, those types of questions and those types of things. And I feel like these days have been extremely productive with Wyvelan over the past, 8 months or so. This is our first year in operation, so we're still just head down grinding still. So I mean, it's a lot of those types of meetings, and then maybe later in the day is more like me by myself, really doing like self-development stuff. I'm kind of like a self-development geek for sure. It's a natural thing that comes to me. It's a way of thinking for me. So yeah, it's a lot of meetings and talks and partnerships and those types of things happening on a day-to-day basis, setting up meetings with even sometimes people that, they're businesses, but we're probably not going to work together, but I'm still learning something from them. They've still got something to give me about the market, the space, like you were saying about that ground game earlier about what's it like in the area, right? These businesses that I talk to sometimes from the Chamber of Commerce give me a real good sense of what's working here. You know what I'm saying? What's working in this area. So it's like I'm trying to get eyes everywhere, almost try to see the whole board.
Yeah. What keeps you focused?
Exactly.
What keeps you focused?
Oh, what keeps me focused? That right there, man. I've got a lot to do.
A lot of move and shake, brother. Of course.
Word. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So when you are doing the thing, whatever that thing is, whether you are working with clients, trying to build your knowledge base, trying to build your network base, what would you say is an influence? Do you have an influence, or you just kind of take some from everything else?
As far as like people, or what kind of influences you're talking about?
Yeah, like as far as people, your outlook on your business, the way you have client calls. I mean, what do you?
To set everything up.
Yeah.
I try to be logical. Like, for a lot of operations, I use stuff that other business people have done. I talked to other people in the area. It's called score coaching. I don't know if you might have heard of it, or a variation of it. But they're basically volunteer entrepreneurs that, like C-level entrepreneurs that have already established brands, that have already established businesses, right? And they devote some time to helping younger entrepreneurs in the community. And I go to them about Wyvelan, about setting everything up. And those are the kind of people that I'm like, hey, I'm not trying to say that I'm some kind of like overtly smart, overtly this person to do everything myself, to just conjure up these plans. So I go to people like those, like, hey, you've done this before. Like, what did you do? What did you, and then formulate ideas from there. Another good. I'm
a firm believer in that, by the way. I'm a firm believer. I think true intellectuals are the ones who always ask and how to improve.
For sure, man. For sure. Mm-hmm. I agree with that. Another influence as far as people, Charlemagne the God. Okay. Have you heard of him?
Yeah. Yes, I have.
You heard of him? He's someone that I followed when I think it started in high school, and I just kind of like love the way that he thinks. Like, I really appreciate every time let's not say like every time he's on the microphone, but for a great majority of the time, I love him and his podcast and his radio show. So he's one of my biggest influences, and I love that the way that he conducts himself in business. That's that level of doing it on your own terms is what I aspire to. And one of his friends, Andrew Schultz, he's a comedian as well. He's a comedian. He's another person that just does stuff on his terms, is living on his terms. He got a Netflix special recently, right? Mm-hmm. And Netflix had already rejected him prior because of his comedy, his style of flagrant comedy. It just wasn't. And I was just rooting for him to keep doing what he's doing. He did what I aspire to do with Wyvelan, is to build a community around whatever it is that you approve of and your surrounding people approve of, and just work within that community. Wyvelan Beam,
right.
And now Netflix comes back around like, oh, Now, you've got X and X numbers, you've got way more people than you did way back when we rejected you, do you want a special now, right?
Yeah.
And, granted he did it, but now he's doing it on his terms. Like, it's because of what he's done. It's because of his community. They're basically giving his community a green light to be them in front of their audience. And I think that type of stuff is cool, man. Anytime you're living on your own terms like that, it's awesome. And Andrew Schultz actually went on his own podcast, and I love this. He was like, oh yeah, Netflix got an Andrew Schultz special. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, that's what's up, dude.
What would be like the dream for you? That's the thing. What is the Netflix special equivalent for what you do? It's kind of an odd question, but
No, it's not an odd question. I understand what you're saying. I would say probably like, I'm striving for being able to work with people that I love talking to all the time. Like, I want to specialize my client delivery base, if you understand what I'm saying, like the people that I serve, you know what I'm saying, to maybe a specific industry only, and work with those people and just be comfortable talking to those people all day, every day. People that really understand what Wyvelan Beam is all about.
Yeah.
And if I can get there within the next few years, where I'm working with those people and we're really building whatever. I don't even know where these creative people might be, but I'm really trying to find them.
Yeah.
And take their ideas to the next level, whatever answers they feel they might have for the world. That's really where I'm trying to go. And, answers for the world, I'm talking about, like, it doesn't necessarily have to be, something. What do you think of when you hear answers to the world?
Well, I mean, it sounds to me like you were going to have like a multifaceted business, like there'll be the core product or whatever you would say, digital marketing side, and then you'll have something that like a labs or research and development aspect where you can have the next aspects of your business brewing, and then a philanthropy aspect as well. In the world, you're thinking about like helping somebody out. Like, you can't get all that money and walk it away. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So that's kind of like the people that live those types of lives. Those are the types of people that I want to work with. I want to believe in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I hate to quote him now because he has his own issues in the media, but like one of the quotes that stuck with me and when I first started in entertainment was from Kevin Spacey that said, if you're fortunate enough to make it to the top, it's your responsibility to bring the elevator back down. So if you want to be able to build your brand and build your things, but then also use your influence or newfound platform to uplift others, then like I think you wouldn't. Like, a lot of people don't like his comedy, but I look at someone like Kevin Hart, for example, who could have just did comedy specials and called it a day. But like with the Laugh Out Loud network and the Kevin Hart's Present series, like there are people that wouldn't have gotten the Netflix special had they not had the Kevin Hart tag on it. So
for sure,
makes you wonder about the platform aspect of why that is. And you look at the greats, the people that do that, like who are like Bill Gates, for example. You may think of him left or right, but you can't deny he got his own money doing something, and he has a foundation doing something. You know what I mean? Steve Jobs or Elon Musk or all those things. And I think that's a cool thing that we have those who are fortunate enough to give back. We can.
Yeah, I appreciate what you're talking about with Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart is, I feel like his business, is very astute. It's very broad ranging beyond just comedy specials, like you said, right? And I know people, like you said, people don't really enjoy his comedy or whatever, but I appreciate everything that's Kevin Hart almost. Like,
I do too.
I give him such a huge pass on everything he does because I'm like, man, he did this thing to the top of the top. Like, he's right there. He's with the Hulk, not the Hulk. Why did I just call him the Hulk? Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Well, in Fast 5, they called him Samoan Hulk. So it totally
my
makes
God.
sense. But here's the funny thing, though. I don't want to interject and cut you off because it's kind of a cool story. It brings us back to everything. I remember an interview years ago when Kevin Hart was on The Breakfast Club. He was on Charlamagne the God Show. And they were talking about his strategy because he was feuding with Cat Williams at the time. And he's like, look, I'm doing these arenas. I can't do these arenas forever. I can't participate at this level
Right,
forever.
right.
So it's up to me to set things up. And what we're seeing now, you're seeing people say, okay, I'm a little tired of the shtick. I'm not really into this last special, quote unquote. But he's already thought ahead of that. He's thought 5 years down in the game.
He's already, yeah.
To set himself up. That, to me, is the spirit right there. You know?
Exactly. That kind of ties back in with the long play that we were talking with the coffee stuff or the cigarette smoking. What was it? The
Fred
preacher?
Flintstone, yeah.
Fred Flintstone, yeah. Yeah, man. As long as you're creative, man, it's just like this way of life is just there's no real barrier. You know, as long as you can not just be creative in one sense, you can be creative overall. Yeah. In everything that you do. I just don't really believe in the idea of like a starving artist, you know, because even if whatever you're doing isn't returning money to you, there's a world of other things that if you apply your creative energy to, here we go.
Yeah.
will return for you, and you'll get a chance to practice being creative. You know, you can be so creative.
No, absolutely right. Mike, I want to thank you for being on the show. But before we get out of here, though, I got a couple quick questions for you. Just want to see where your mind is at. Are you down? All
yeah,
right,
let's go.
Number one, what was the last gift you gave someone?
Oh, let's see. Okay. So, I was born in Africa.
Okay.
I was born in Togo. It's between Benin and Ghana over in West Africa, right? And
my Ancestry.com says I'm 39% Beninian.
Oh, really? yeah, you're right there. Were you born here in America then?
No, my parents are Caribbean, so you know the whole slave trade thing. You know, the slave trade. So it's like I was born in Brooklyn. My parents are Caribbean, but like the Ancestry.com says I'm like majority from Benin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Big up the island.
Yeah, you know how it is. Where you go?
I do. But as far as gift, okay. So the reason I brought it up is because I have family there still, right? And recently I sent my cousin that I grew up with before I came to America. We were like thick as thieves. I sent him some money because, you know, not that his life is like shit, but we just live in different world, you know, so a little money helps out a lot sometimes. And he doesn't have too many responsibilities. He still lives with his dad, getting to school together, trying to figure out everything that works. But, you know, even that's not simple. You know, you still need money for food. You still need money for whatever when you're going to school. You still need money for books and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. So
I just send him a little something out as just like a token to like, hey, man, you know, I fuck with you. I love you, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't really talk much because of the distance of time and of you know, literal space. But that was just a token of how much I appreciate him. Just give him a little bit of relief, and now we stay in touch. And he said thank you and everything like that. But that was so it was kind of a good catalyst for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we really lost touch after growing up together for so long. You know, I've been in America for a good part of 10 years now. So
yeah, that's what's up. I mean, you have your accent so Midwest. It's like, how really? you would never in a good way. Please don't be offended. I'm just saying, like, it sounds like you were a native, man.
For sure. Yeah.
So favorite TV show you're watching right now? TV show or movie you're watching right now?
Am I watching anything right now? I don't think I'm watching anything right now, but
no time for that.
Yeah, I really don't.
Okay. What are you most grateful for today?
I recently got COVID.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, man. I really am.
Yeah. And I'm grateful that it wasn't that bad.
Okay.
You know, I felt like it could have been worse. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, it's a very scary time, man. I appreciate your recovery, dude, and sharing that story.
Yeah. I got it, and my mom got it as well, and she's doing healthy as well. So that's another, like, one of the biggest things I worried about with COVID was like, like if I go out somewhere and get COVID and then like come meet one of my parents or something right there, and like, God forbid, something negative happens to them because of that. I feel like such a huge douchebag, just because
I got you, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So the fact that, I got it and my mom got it and we both survived through it, and it's a past chapter now, for now at least, for a little bit of time at least, until you either get vaccines or you don't. But are you gonna get vaccinated?
I probably would wait, but I would.
Yeah.
But to give you a little bit of base, I don't typically get the flu shot year to year.
Actually, me neither.
But for this one, I mean, I know there's people way ahead of me as far as like need. Like my parents. So I haven't been able to see my parents. I live in New York. My parents live in New York, and of course we're Caribbean, so you can't like go to New York and like stay in a hotel. That's insulting, right? So I don't feel comfortable going and checking my parents because they're 70 years old, and my mom has asthma, and the COVID hotspot for a while was New York.
Yeah.
So if the vaccine came out tomorrow, there's like literally millions of people that are more deserving and needing of it right now.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm not against it. I'm not like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I understand. Yeah, I feel what you're saying. I agree. So did you say it's offensive to stay in a hotel?
Yeah, you know how it is. You come all the way, big mom. You can't stay at my house. You just for me. Like, no, it's not like that, Mom. I'm 30 years old. I want my own bed.
Facts. No, I would stay in a hotel, but I think I'm trying to remember a story. I think like my mom was going to visit some of my family that I have out. Remember I told you about the cousin that I met everyone from Wyvelan from is in New York.
Yeah.
So they were going out there, and like she called them like, oh, holiday season, I want to come visit. And they're like, yeah, there's a nice hotel nearby. And she's like, what?
Yeah.
You would put me in a hotel? Like,
I would. I'm sorry. Because you can't have it both ways. If I'm the guy that wants to go to a hotel and we're all at the age now where you should have your own money, get a Motel 6, then you don't need me.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I am not a bad person, y'all. I'm just saying. But for real, Mike, it's been a pleasure with you being here on New Amsterdam Radio, sharing your story with everyone out there. Just any final words or thoughts or bits of advice for anyone who's listening to you and your story?
Creative people, come find me. We'll make it happen. Find me on Instagram at Wyvelan Beam. You can find me on Twitter at Mike Mabb, Mike_Mabb. Go to my website, wyvelandigital.com, and you'll see anything you want to look at, get some more information about what I do and who I help. And I really implore you to get with me for a consultation, and we'll talk strategy, we'll talk shop and see where you want to go. We'll talk about the modern customer journey. We'll talk about how it's going to keep changing and how we can stay adaptive to that. Dun 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 dun. Let me see. And that's
for everyone. Like you national clients, international clients, you'll serve everyone?
Yeah, right now I'm looking to help everyone.
Okay. That's great.
All right, but if you're like selling like anything weird, like drugs or anything, like I might not help you, but like.
Oh, okay, yes, I'm selling drugs. I want to do a little strategy plan for real, dude.
Progressive drug dealing, man. Progressive drug dealing.
Yeah, man. Can you send my Venmo, y'all? All right. Yo, please come back. I would love to have you on the show in the future to see how it's.
Yeah, man. It was fun talking to you, man.
Yeah, likewise, man. Until next time, yo. This is New Amsterdam Radio. Welcome, citizen. That does for me on this edition of New Amsterdam Radio. Make sure you check out all the other episodes of New Amsterdam Radio canon over at newamsterdam.com. That's KNEW Amsterdam.com. Follow the show on Instagram at New Amsterdam or on Twitter at New_Amsterdam. As for me, Flobo Boyce, you can follow me on Twitter at Flobo Boyce. Say what's up, tell me what you're working on, and maybe you might be a guest on a future episode here on New Amsterdam Radio. But it's that time. I get going outside of the mayor's office, down to the street level, and go work on my own projects. But until next time, as always, this city is yours.